Hi everybody, in this video we're going to look at simplifying algebraic fractions. So we're going to look at a few different examples where we need to factorise in different ways and then look at how we actually simplify it. So let's dive straight in. First here, we're looking at two numbers that add to give me -7 and multiply to give me 12. And it'll be the same here, add to give me +1 and multiply to give me -20. So when you get an algebraic fraction, it says simplify. First thing you should be thinking to yourself is, can I factorise? So if we factorise the top two numbers that add to -7 but multiply to +12, that becomes x minus 4 and x minus 3. So those two add to give me -7, but then when I multiply them I end up getting +12. And at the bottom we're looking at two numbers that add to give me 1 but multiply to give me -20. So that's going to be x plus 5 and x minus 4. So that's your first thing to do, is to factorise it. From here you're then looking at, where can I actually cancel things out, where can I divide? X minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is basically 1, so they cancel each other out and you end up with x minus 3 over x plus 5, and that is your answer simplified. Okay, let's look at this second example here. Now the bottom we can factorise still, so we can go, right, what multiplies to -2, sorry, what adds to -2 but multiplies to -35? Well, 7 and 5 are going to be my two factor pairs, so I know the bottom is going to be x minus 7 and then x plus 5. So they are my two values factorised for the bottom, but the top looks a bit different. Okay, and this is the difference of two squares. So you've got an x squared and then you've got a negative square number. So that top still factorises to two brackets. We're going to have an x in both, but because it's a difference of two squares, you basically square root this 25 and you end up with 5. So 5 will go in both brackets, but because it's a difference of two squares, one becomes a +5, one becomes a -5, and that's you factorising the top. Then again, go through the process we just did. What values cancel each other out? So what values cancel each other out? And here, +5 cancel each other out. So your final answer would be x minus 5 over x minus 7. Okay, so that would be your answer for that one. Let's look down here at this slightly more complicated question. The reason this is more complicated is because we've got a 2x squared involved here. So let's go through our process again. We're looking at two numbers that add to 5 but multiply to -50, factorising the bottom. So when I do that, it's going to be 10 and 5. So it's going to be +10 and -5, because 10 minus 5 gives me my +5, and 10 times -5 gives me -50. But the top here, we need to go through our process on factorising the top. So the first thing you do is you think about it. That's your A value, that's your B value, that's your C value. You've got to do your A value times by your C value first of all. So 2 times -15 is -30. So I need two numbers now that multiply to -30 but add to -7. So that's your first thing to think about. What two numbers add to -7 but multiply to -30? And my numbers are going to be -10 and +3. Because -10 plus 3 gives me -7. And then -10 times +3 gives me -30. Now what you can do is a little shortcut here, is you take whatever the A value is, which is 2x, and you put that in both brackets. Then you put your two factor pairs in there, so -10 and +3. And from this point here, what you should identify is one of those brackets can simplify. Now I know that this one can divide by 2. So that becomes x minus 5, and that becomes 2x plus 3, because this cannot simplify. This second bracket here cannot simplify, so I leave that as it is. But because this first bracket can actually be divided by 2 and by 2, I simplify that. And then what you end up having is that this top part factorises to x minus 5, brackets 2x plus 3. And then from here again, we go through that final step. What is cancelling each other out? Because x minus 5 divided by x minus 5 gives you 1. So effectively we can say they cancel each other out. So we end up with 2x plus 3 over x plus 10. And that is your answer. Okay, so that's how you simplify algebraic fractions. Just think to yourself, remember, factorise, factorise, factorise. That'll at least pick you up marks in an exam, but it then will show you how to get to that final process by factorising. It makes it a lot easier to work with. Okay, thanks guys, see you all soon.